Watching and connected, but it's never enough. Talking with our friends about our favorite things. TV shows and movies and some random swearing. Hey! 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 This is the pretty, this is the little, this is the pretty little podcast.
Hello, all you pretty little people. This is the Pretty Little Podcast. I'm your host, Deadbeat Chad. With me is just Jess.
Hello. Hi.
Jess, what are we talking about today?
Cool World.
Yeah, I'm not excited about this.
You gonna ask me what Cool World is?
And it sucks too because, you know, I'm the reason we watched this and I'm the reason we're doing this episode. Cool World was one of those films that I did see in theaters because of my father. He picked me up for his weekend. My parents were divorced. And this is one of the things we did on one of the weekends he picked me up.
Okay.
Now, as a kid, I was, first of all, way too young to be watching this movie. But also, I couldn't really wrap my head around what was going on.
I don't think being a kid has much to do with that.
I just remember it being a bunch of like kooky shit happening. And that's pretty much what it is. But
kinda, yeah.
For the life of me, because look, after we just got through watching this,
yes,
I have not seen this movie in forever. Have we seen it since we've known each other?
I have never once in my life chosen to watch this movie. I've seen it maybe 7 or 8 times, but I don't think we've ever. Maybe once. I feel like we've watched it once.
Yeah, it's possible. But in my memory, I have not seen this movie like since the turn of the 2000s. So all of my memories of this are from going and seeing this in theaters as a kid. And, you know, just the little things here. Like, I'm sure there are YouTube channels that I've watched that have reviewed this or something. And watching it now as an adult, like, no, there's just not a plot.
It's pretty fucking stupid.
This plot is held together with bubblegum and dreams of being as good as Roger Rabbit.
Wow.
And it really, really falls short of pretty much everything this movie's trying to do.
Yes. It's
not the next Roger Rabbit like it wants to be. It's not interesting. There's some interesting things about it, I guess. There are some backgrounds that I enjoyed.
Yes. Yeah, that's something I was going to talk about.
There's like I said, this plot is something that like a 10-year-old would have come up with. Like if I was 10 years old,
I'd say specifically a boy who has started getting interested. Like really interested in things.
Yeah, the whole thing comes off as like a kid that has to go do a book report in class, but he forgot to read the book, so he's just up there making shit up.
And he's really horny.
Yeah, and yes, and like you said, he's 13 and like horny. So Cool World.
Yeah.
There you go, folks.
Cool World is a 1992 American live-action animated fantasy film directed by Ralph Bakshi and written by Michael Grace and Mark Victor. The film stars Kim Basinger, Gabriel Byrne, and Brad Pitt. Its plot follows a cartoonist who finds himself in a cartoon-like universe he believes he created, where he is seduced by one of the characters, a femme fatale who wants to become human.
Yeah.
So, no, I did not pick this movie.
And for full disclosure here, we had an episode, or I had an idea for an episode, a topic, but there wasn't enough time to watch because it's going to be an animated series and there were like 49 episodes of this thing. So there wasn't enough time to watch it before we recorded this episode. Mm-hmm. So I was on Paramount Plus one day trying to figure out like, just looking for, because this is the season of animation. So I was looking for things that were animated. I saw Cool World and I was like, okay, maybe we can revisit this. Maybe my child memory is just a stupid kid's memory of this. And this movie is actually fully functional as a work of entertainment. And I was wrong.
Yeah, no, this is a bad movie. Like when we started watching this, so we got like maybe 5-10 minutes in, and you were like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even want to do this.
want to do this. And I was like, I will be goddamned if you make me watch this fucking movie and then we don't even get an episode out of it. Absolutely not. But when you were saying that, I said, well, the ultimate problem with this movie is there are better examples. Every single aspect of this movie has better versions of it elsewhere. It's nowhere near the best Ralph Bakshi movie. It's certainly not the best like cartoon / live action movie. It's not the best femme fatale movie. It's not the best kind of person at a time movie.
It's not even the best like adult animated anything.
Right.
Like it really wants to be, which is really fucking strange too, because we're talking about Ralph Bakshi here.
He's not a genius.
Dude. But I'm saying like as horny as this movie is and it just never goes there, when he has done movies like Coonskin and Fritz the Cat.
Well, they do. It's definitely. I mean, this was released in theaters, though. Like,
yes, I know, but
no,
they still could have like.
What more dumb sex shit would have made it better?
I know.
I don't think so.
Nothing could have saved this with this plot and this animation. Nothing was going to save this movie.
Look,
but I do think it might have made a little more money.
I don't. It didn't make half its budget back. By the way. It had like a $28 million budget. It made about 14 in the box office. So I'd like to talk about some things that I do like, because it's going to be a much shorter segment and I really don't want to just shit all over things. There's so many animated movies out there. Why the fuck you picked this? I have no idea.
Like
but here we are.
It really didn't go any further
actually
than
good animated movies.
I saw the thumbnail on Paramount Plus.
Ugh. So
like, this will work.
No. So you talked briefly about the backgrounds. One thing I do appreciate, because I am going to compare and contrast this to Roger Rabbit, because it's intentionally meant to be compared. Like according to the wiki, following the success of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and his own professional resurgence in television in the late 1980s, Bakshi conceived Cool World as a horror film. This is classified as a comedy horror movie. Okay, sure. He brought the idea to Paramount and became attached to direct. It was his first feature film in nearly a decade and intended as his comeback. But they blame interference from producers, and that led to rewrites. And then relations between Bakshi and the producers in the studios deteriorated, blah, blah, blah.
All bad signs.
Well, look, okay, like Ralph Bakshi, I'm not the biggest fan. I like Wizards quite a bit, and it's got plenty of mostly naked fair. Eleanor is in much thinner lingerie than Holly is in this. You see her nipples throughout the whole fucking thing.
Right.
Like, I grew up watching that movie when I shouldn't have.
Didn't he do American Pop?
I don't know what that is.
It's an animated movie.
I don't know. But I grew up watching that, and when I shouldn't have. And that at least has, but this, so to compare Wizards and Cool World, I mean, I was always going to like Wizards more. It actually has a plot. It's more interesting. You care about the characters, and it's fantasy mixed with, well, a lot of actual Nazi propaganda, like the actual films and shit. So it's interesting to me. It's the whole World War II, fascism, Nazism type shit brought into a fantasy world. And what the fuck does that do to the elves who have never seen this technology?
Right.
That is so much fucking cooler. But this is his idea of a Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
they blame the producers and whatnot.
You can tell that he was definitely riding the coattails of Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
He wanted the Roger Rabbit money. That's not actual creativity in my mind. That's trying to capitalize off something, and it fucking shows. And the biggest,
oh no, let's make her sexy. Let's make her actually have sex. Jessica Rabbit didn't actually have sex in the movie. Hollywood,
I like
get it?
sex. Sex
Hollywood, because it's like she's like Hollywood, but also it's spelled WOULD because it's like she totally would, dude.
yeah, that bothers me.
Stupid.
By the way. I don't have a problem with her name being Hollywood, but I think that the way it's spelled is really stupid.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest problem at least for me as a viewer watching this movie, is the fact that you can pinpoint exactly every scene of this movie where they were just like saving money.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because there are 2 characters really in this movie that they even bothered animating.
Other than like specific, very repeated motions, like half-second loops of repetitive motion.
Keep in
for
mind,
a lot of the background characters.
that this was a theatrical release.
Oh yeah,
I know it was because I went with my dad to see it in theaters. And watching this, it looks like you know how Saturday morning cartoons had that crappiness to them? Well, this is Sunday morning cartoons.
This is like
The
Tuesday
ones where they didn't
This
try.
is like Tuesday afternoon cartoons. You only
Right.
see this shit if
is-
you're stuck home sick from school and Price is Right isn't on.
Like the 2 female characters in here, Brad Pitt's like girlfriend.
Lynette.
Yeah, Lynette, and then Hollywood are like the only 2 characters they bother doing any kind of...
Nails.
Yeah, Nails, okay. What is he,
Harris
like?
is
He's like-
sidekick. Brad Pitt's
Yeah.
like sidekick little spider guy.
But even...
And then like
even
Sparks
some of that look bad.
sometimes.
Like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
sure.
talking about when it comes to especially Holly, because she's like star of the show. This is obviously her movie.
Yeah.
Right? So with her animation, it's obviously rotoscoped. You know, she's constantly dancing. So they had Kim Basinger do her dances, and then they animated over the footage of her dancing.
But her dancing is so sloppy. Like I get that it's
Yeah, it's not
supposed to
very
be
fluid.
sexy, but she's just like random,
Well,
like
keep in
kind of
mind, too,
like gyrating
This is the
in
same
air. Like,
technique
okay.
that Walt Disney used for Snow White back
well,
in the
and
40s.
Bakshi uses a lot of rotoscoping in Wizards too, and it's super cool. I like the concept of rotoscoping. It usually, at least to me, ends up in like an Uncanny Valley type situation where it's like, oh, that's a little too good because
sometimes it can.
it's like, ugh.
But also when it comes to like just animating Holly in general, she has like shading and shadow highlights,
Yeah.
low lights, things like that. Whereas every other character in this movie is just flat as hell.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's a
Well,
lot.
even Lynette is just super like slopey faced. Like I don't know, she just doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got totally sidetracked. I was gonna talk about things I like about the movie. The
No,
problem
go
is
for it.
there's just so many things I don't. But no, what I was talking about is something that sets it apart from Roger Rabbit in a more interesting way to me is all of the different styles of animation that you don't really see in Roger Rabbit for the most part, aside from like, you know, like the Weasels and Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit, they're all like Warner Brothers or Disney.
Mhm.
It's all the same type of recognizable characters.
Right.
But in here, you have every kind of animation you can think of. There's like sometimes there's just weird, random, like colored pencil monstery guys, like kind of just floating around in a circle that appear
Or a
and
transparent
go.
head that just
Sure.
floats into the scene.
And I'm
out
not
of it.
saying it all works. I'm certainly not saying it makes sense because it doesn't have to. But I do think it's interesting when you have the bunny who like how Disney didn't sue for that's Thumper. I don't know, but there's a point where like it's this little cutesy Disney-ish rabbit thing going up against this like extremely different art style, and they're both like interacting. And so I do think that is neat. There is a lot of rubber hose animation shit in this, which I know you're a fan of. I don't like it. It creeps me out.
No. I like the
don't-
rubber hose animation.
Yeah, I
but
don't like it.
when it's from the time of that style
Oh,
of animation. Like when they try to recreate that, I mean,
well, what about Cuphead? And stuff
Cuphead
like
was
that?
one of
You
the
like
few
Cuphead.
examples lately that I can think of off the top of my head that like pulled it off
Yeah.
for a modern audience. But yeah, modern rubber hose animation doesn't do it for me. It
But
has to
you know,
be from the period.
there's all kinds of different art styles mixed in together, which if you were in a place like Cool World or Toontown, you would actually expect all of these, because anime is just drawing set to motion, and drawings can look like anything. It doesn't have to be like one or two specific types, and there's a ton of different looking things kind of all smashed together.
Yeah.
And it's done sloppily, but the thing about Cool World, and I've talked about this in other episodes in the past, where this is a situation where the idea even though it's clearly just made to try and get money because, ooh, Roger Rabbit, people like animation and live action. Yeah, when it's done well. We'll talk about what it's like when like Brad Pitt and Gabriel Byrne interact with doodles in this movie because it's fucking horrific. But they... I don't know. I also like the backgrounds. That's what you were talking about before.
Yeah, the backgrounds are all great.
That is an example. There's this like some of it's almost like MC Escher-ish. There's some stuff that's very what's this fuck? God damn it. The guy who designed Aliens, like all the penises and stuff like that. Yeah.
H.R. Giger.
There's a lot like there's huge weird like gothic castles, a lot of
gothic
twisted
German
buildings.
expressionists.
Yeah, German expressionism. Yes, and then like the big teeth that like are
like
over
buildings will have teeth
bridges
where the windows should be and things like and they're like twisting around up into the clouds
and they're all still frame, right? None of them are actually animated,
which works.
But yes, it works. There's a lot of detail in that I do think is interesting.
This movie needs to calm down. It is constantly moving. Every time there is...
I mean, Holly is constantly
everything
moving.
is. There's never just like... There's like in Roger Rabbit, right? There's entire scenes where Eddie is just interacting with Roger. They're having a conversation. They're moving the plot forward or something. There is never a scene in this film where there is just one cartoon character doing something.
With the reason why I think that is most of Roger Rabbit took place in our world. Not Toontown. When he goes to Toontown,
I guess, but
it's fucking chaotic.
But even
this
that
is
was
like the
done
opposite
better,
of
though.
that. Well,
it was still toned down. Like this is all. I don't know, man. I can handle Roger Rabbit's
I don't know how the
Toontown
fact.
over
I don't know
Cool World
how
any day.
Brad Pitt lived here for 50 years.
Well, and I think me either. But I guess for me, at least in Toontown, like Toons, when they're walking. Their feet are on the ground walking around. And this, like cartoon, the characters are just floating in the air.
Sometimes.
And shit.
But I think that's because they're supposed to be drunk or high or something, because this is Bakshi, and there's a lot of like, there's more like bars and strip clubs and whatnot in here than anything else from what I could tell. It could just be because we're following the case at hand, so to speak. Harris trying to get the cartoonist Gabriel Byrne, Deebs, to not fuck this doodle, which is a ridiculous sentence.
Yeah, because in this world you have two things. You have noids and doodles.
Yeah, noids
are humanoids,
people.
humans.
Yeah.
Doodles are cartoon characters.
Yeah, and you can't have sex
never
with them.
the two shall meet.
Right. Well, to the point where, Brad Pitt, Detective Harris, he is in a long-term relationship with this doodle Lynette, but they haven't ever actually done anything because they can't. He even says it is the oldest law in Cool World. You don't do that. The problem is he doesn't fucking explain why.
Yeah, they don't explain it until after it happens, and then the explanation is that all it does is make the cartoon real.
Yes, but the problem is then she goes into the real world, and what it does is facilitate a breakdown between the realities to where it starts blending together, and they would ultimately cancel each other out.
Right.
It would destroy the universe. I'm trying. I did not. Don't think that I'm like.
What did you say this had? A 4 on?
Yeah, it's a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then a 31 for the audience score.
Higher, honestly, just because look,
it's a 31 on the audience score, but the critics is 4%.
Okay, see, the audience score is still a little low for me because I would have thought that this would have been somewhere in the upper 40s at least. I feel like this is one of those things that would have had a big fan base just based on the fact that it's a cult classic from long enough ago now and a decade better than the one we live in.
Well, I think it would have had a higher rating if it was done better. Like I said, there were ideas here that just were not executed well. And, Bakshi can blame the producers. Maybe he's right. I don't fucking know. We don't know what was intended.
Well, but when you're dealing with somebody...
The result is real sloppy.
Yeah, when you're dealing with somebody like a Ralph Bakshi, the worst thing you can do is divide this man's attention and make him have to work with other people creating stuff. Because Ralph Bakshi is one of those... He's an ideas man, right?
Yeah.
He has an idea. If you let him stay focused, he can create a Wizards.
Yeah.
He can create, for better or worse, a Fritz the cat. Like,
No,
we
thank
may
you.
not care for it,
It's not for
but that
me.
you still have to admit that had a cultural impact.
I don't know that it was a good one,
Well,
but it did.
It still did. But with Cool World, I feel like Ralph Bakshi was not given... he wasn't just given the reins to make the movie he wanted to make. He
when
was
it
trying
was
to...
his idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that for better or worse, just let the man make... Because would it have done worse? Could it have possibly done worse?
I mean, maybe.
No. I don't
know.
think so. I don't
Well,
think this
I think
movie
the
could have been
problem
worse.
is that he was planning on this being his resurgence. He hadn't already had it, right? If he had done something else to actually make himself more relevant again and then went on to this, I think they would have given him more freedom. But he had fallen out of favor quite a bit by this point in the early late 80s, early 90s. No one really was talking about him or gave a shit what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
well,
I mean, he did television stuff, but like he wasn't what he was in the 70s, right? So I think that there was most likely people going, what the fuck is this?
well, yeah, I
he
mean,
pitched it as a horror movie to Paramount. Where is the horror in this?
he thrived in that era of the counterculture.
Yeah,
Heroes are druggies.
I liken him very to R. Crumb, who I also don't tend to care for.
This is the era of the R. Crumbs, the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, those counterculture comic book
I am
characters
not
that were
the
and
intended audience.
Ralph Bakshi was right there in the middle of it,
Sure.
at the right place, the right time. He had ideas that, for the time, captured that audience of, druggies, basically,
Yeah.
hippies. And yeah, by the time the 90s rolled around, we were kind of over it. And this movie is just a product of him trying to bring some of that energy into
That may be
something
why,
more modern.
Even though this is 92, and obviously 92 was long ago. This movie, even
modern for the time.
No. What I mean is, even in 92, this would have felt very dated.
It did. Absolutely, it did.
It's that I don't want this. If this is supposed to be like a alternative dark take on Roger Rabbit, well, fuck, actually adapt the book from what. Go listen to our Roger Rabbit episode, because holy shit, I didn't know any of that.
The book was far more interesting than the movie.
And that the book Jessica Rabbit reminds me a lot more of Holly.
Yes,
than
absolutely.
like movie Jessica Rabbit.
And when I was listening to the audiobook of Roger Rabbit, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Like, this is more of a Hollywood.
And that's why that's another reason I was like, no, we should talk about this. We can compare and contrast different things with Roger Rabbit, because I definitely feel like, and again, I still haven't read the book, I'm never going to, but you explained, the differences between that character.
Mm-hmm.
And she definitely just, super sexy baby, like out to get what she wants.
Yeah,
and
she uses sexuality
costs.
to benefit her in whatever way she wants.
Sure.
She's well aware that she can have any man do anything she wants. Pretty much.
Yeah, and that is something in this, and like, not to disparage Kim Basinger. Obviously, she's beautiful.
Well, this was like
But,
peak Basinger.
I understand that, but every man in the real world too, not just the actual cartoon wolves who are like, oh, and like looking at her and shit. Every man in the real world turns almost into a doodle like thing where they're just like, and I'm like,
yes. As we do.
Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, can you look? Anytime a
Dude,
man sees a
she's
beautiful woman,
gorgeous.
he has to act like a fucking cartoon character.
What?
That's what we do.
But there isn't enough there to make me believe that is like an intentional little, like, her inherent doodleness is like exuding an influence on these guys and making them act more doodly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring Flanders into this. But I don't believe that's the case. I don't think it went that deep. I think I'm putting context in there that isn't actually there.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to, because this movie gives you nothing to work with.
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm pretty well established on this podcast for trying desperately to make plot sense out of things that you make me watch that have no fucking plot.
Look, man, this is real simple, right? Ralph Bakshi sat down at the ideas table, and he's like, all right, we got to have live action. We got to have cartoons.
He's idly drawing boobs while he's
just
spanking.
drawing a bunch of boobs.
Yes.
And he's like, I got to figure out a live action cartoon hybrid movie like Roger Rabbit. Okay, so we have a cartoon character that wants to be real, right? Okay, so this cartoon character, she's going to have boobs. Well, it has to be a
Obviously, big
woman.
ones.
And we have to animate her really, really well. That's where most of the budget's going to go. So let's see. How can we also make this extremely horny? I got it. In order for her to become real, she has to fuck a human.
Like, that's the most Bakshi thing I've ever heard. Like, of course she has to fuck a human.
And that's as far as it got.
Well, yeah.
They went to set and they were like, here's the plot. And they're like, well, wait a minute. You're supposed to be handing us a script. And they're like, script? What do you mean? It's a plot. This is a plot movie, okay?
Yeah, I don't know. And aside from Kim Basinger, which her performance in this is really fucking weird. Her idea of what a doodle should act like is really weird.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind her performance as Holly.
I just hate her stupid little baby voice in this because she doesn't have that
the
voice.
voice does kind of.
I don't like it.
But the way that like her movements and the way, especially with her like her face and her eyes, she really is trying here.
No. What I was gonna say is even with that, even though she's like she's just moving like a fucking mad woman, she's the only person in this movie who seems to be even remotely enjoying herself.
Yeah, right. I'm sitting here watching this, and I really was like, poor Gabriel Byrne and Kim Basinger.
Brad Pitt, Gabriel Byrne,
Brad
Kim
Pitt
Basinger,
is doing something else.
He's thinking of something
Brad
else.
Pitt, look, for all that we know what Brad Pitt has become, I think he has actually grown into being an actor very well.
Yeah,
I think he's great. I don't think he was at this point in time. Like this is clearly before he had any kind of experience.
He was there. But the point is, all three of these people are at least, if not at that point, then became, depending on which one we're talking about, lauded actors. Yeah. They are well known. They have all given fantastic performances in other, later movies or what have you. Or, I mean, she's fucking great in Batman.
Yeah.
Like that's Vicky Vales. She's fucking awesome. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Gabriel
say that
Byrne
she's ever
is
been
great
in
later.
anything terrible. Like
I will. Cool World.
I mean, okay, let me say I can't say that I've ever seen her give a terrible performance.
No, I think she was trying her best with what she was given. I don't think she was necessarily directed very well in this. It just seems like she was given to try and do her best impression, and it doesn't seem like she was given direction or notes or.
It does
anything.
seem like. It does seem to me like the character, obviously the look of the character was modeled after her. I feel like that was absolutely what they were going for. They were sitting there going like, what's
to a point. I mean, the face isn't.
What's
very
the prettiest
similar.
big name actress we can get in this thing? Kim Basinger. Okay, let's base the character on her. Let's make her look like her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's even rotoscoped and all that shit. So I think that this character was not even conceived by Ralph Bakshi. I think it was conceived by her.
Mm. And they just animated given off of her performance.
Yes.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. The whole idea is, you've got this cartoonist who just on an off-throw line, I believe he was in, because when it starts, he's in prison and he's about to get out. But he went to prison for killing the man who slept with his wife. It's just like a throwaway line, like when he's in the comic book shop. Okay.
He's the creator of Cool.
Yeah,
World,
the comic book, and he feels that he gets these visions, and he thinks he's created all of this, but really it's an alternate dimension type thing and he's just kind of peeking through the veil, so to speak.
And you kind of don't, again, another throwaway line where you get that information is from Brad Pitt when he's like, Cool World exists with or without you.
Yeah. Well, there's
throwaway line.
Yeah, well, I think someone else, maybe Sparks, I don't remember. Someone was like, "Yeah, that dumbass thinks he invented us," like that type of thing.
I think Holly said that at some
I know
point.
she said it at some point, but somebody said it to her before. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
So yes, Cool World just exists, and it like I guess manifests in our world as a comic.
Because he can peek through the veil, he sees visions, and he writes them. He draws them out.
Which
that's a totally fine idea.
Yeah, it's different, right?
I don't mind
something
that
we
at
haven't
all.
seen before, but at the end of the day, this is just not.
But it's very sloppily executed.
It's the execution that I have a problem with. And the fact that this movie can't, it's so ADD. Every scene is moving and scenes just go from like, it's just one to the other to the other. Nothing, there's no flow to it like a movie. This it flows more like a Paula Abdul video, like music video.
Well, this has been likened to a long music video because the soundtrack is pretty all right overall.
Yeah, I had the soundtrack on
the
CD when I was younger,
good.
and I can say that like the soundtrack itself is pretty solid, even to this day.
This is another thing that maybe you should just put on mute. I don't know. It's not because the voice performances are bad, because I mean they're really not. And there's, God knows, there's plenty of voice actors in here. Maurice LaMarche is in here in several different
places. Frank Welker's in
there. Charlie Adler, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's nails. But I mean, there's several different people in here, and they're all doing, you know, decent performances.
It's everything you would expect. It's just the animation is just, it's so jarringly
it's
bad,
just sloppy, man.
Especially for something that is theatrical.
It's really low quality with then super detailed, stylized backgrounds that don't match at all. And I don't mind that they don't match at all because, again, this is like a mishmash of all kinds of art styles. So I'm not really concerned about the fact that there's these rubber hose things living in this like German expressionistic mouth castle or whatever.
Another thing I noticed too watching this with the animation is that like the Cool World itself, right? The city that they live in is
a city called Cool World. Also, it's not very cool. I'm just saying like when they're in Cool World, they just tend to be in the same city. Right. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be like a world. They should have called it Cool City or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
The name of this movie is odd too. But anyways, the fact that like the city itself, it's never seen in the daytime at all. It's always perpetual night.
Nightclubs around and dirty alleys.
All of the characters that are these cartoons that are running around are not reacting to the lighting in the background.
No.
Because there's no lighting on the characters.
No.
They are flat. There's no shading. There's no shadows. There's no highlights on these things, with the exception of Holly. When Holly is moving around, she is reacting to the light because they give her far more close-ups than any other characters too. Most of the other characters in this are just kind of like in the background somewhere, bouncing around or floating around or whatever. But with Holly, they do tend to do a lot of close-ups and things. And maybe that's why they decided to go that route with her. Maybe they just felt
I think it's just to draw the eye, really. She stands out and apart as something special.
Yeah, they definitely want you looking at her at all times.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in more frames of this movie than I think anybody else is.
Probably.
For sure.
One other thing I do like is the way they bring the 2D into 3D. Like they mix that in a specific way that it doesn't bring attention to it. It's just something I noticed that I thought was kind of cool. Is when Brad Pitt, he drives up in his car and then he gets out, he walks past it and around it, it's a cardboard cutout, right? It's flat.
Yeah.
And then when he's standing in front of the car and he turns around to look at someone, there's a flat, like, front of the car thing, but it's a 2D. I mean, you don't really play Danganronpa or anything, but it's that type of thing where they're 3D.
Yeah, I'm familiar
and then
with
when you rotate around, they're really just like cardboard cutout things.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that way of having a 3D character navigate what is kind of a 2D, 3D world. Yeah. I thought that was
the way that the sets work on this too is it is a mix of real sets with cartoon backgrounds and little, I guess, quality of life things here and there.
Not many though.
Yeah, but it does have this weird like cardboard cutout pop-up book feel in some scenes. So I know what you mean. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with that at all.
No, I thought it was cool. I thought that was a neat little thing.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, it is a way to save money. You know, it really helps the budget.
Maybe. I tend to think that because they could have gotten a car. They could have easily just rolled a car in there. I think that was a very intentional
I'm sure it was
choice. But
sure.
Yeah, no, I thought that was fun.
Or whenever they'll get in a car and then it'll turn into a cartoon car as they're driving.
There's a lot
off.
of flitting back and forth between like real things and doodly things.
And honestly, I mean, if you're on mushrooms or something, maybe this movie's amazing.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Maybe that was what they were going for.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So after Holly becomes a real girl and she comes through, she occasionally starts bursting into a doodle, like little like flickers, right? Why the fuck isn't her doodle that she's turning into herself as a doodle? Why is it some weird female Ronald McDonald fucking thing?
I don't know, because Gabriel Byrne, he's doing the same thing, and he's also like a clown type character.
But the difference is he doesn't have a doodle form. He's just annoyed. And then later on, when she's on the building trying to get to the spike of power, she is flickering back and forth between her like annoyed self and her doodle self.
Yeah.
So why the fuck was there a weird
I have no idea.
clown thing for a while?
I don't know, but
what the fuck is that?
But it looks like it is her like her doodle version just wearing a clown outfit.
It's got like big, like kind of pinky red, like
it looks
high
like her,
hair.
It looks like her in a costume, like a exaggerated
I don't
costume.
know, because her face is like, ooh, like it's fucking weird. She's got the big like white cartoon gloves on and shit. But it's like stripy everything.
Maybe it's just supposed to symbolize that like she's losing control. She can't.
But it just seems like she should be turning back and forth between her annoyed self and her doodle self.
And maybe when she's on the roof of the casino trying to pull the spike out of the roof of the casino.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like
that's a heavy plot point, actually, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, so there exists what's known as the spike, which is
the
just
spike of power.
Spike of power. Yeah. And it's
put there by Doc Whiskers.
When you pull it out, it's like a cork, right? Between our worlds, and it allows the tunes or the doodles,
thank you,
to come into our world and merge the two,
flood in through. And
I guess she wants to. What's really strange about this whole plot thing is because she thinks that by pulling the spike of power out of the casino, that it will make her human.
Yeah, it'll make her real. She'll stop doodling.
Right. But when she pulls it out and all the cartoons come into our world, she reverts back to her cartoon self, and she's just okay with that.
I got nothing, man. I didn't say...
Until Gabriel Byrne turns into, like, what would you call this type of superhero? It's kind of like the Crimson Chin.
That's what I was thinking of, was the Crimson Chin. I'm surprised you even know who that is.
Yeah. It's one of those types.
That's from the Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah.
It's very this guy.
Yeah, it's kind of a powdered toast man.
Yeah, kind of.
Mixed with a Crimson Chin.
Yes.
And a little bit of Superman.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, it's just the most this guy. I don't know. Yeah. But yes, the Crimson Chin is absolutely who I thought of as well. That's so funny. Because he's trying to become a hero. And Harris works on trying to become a hero throughout the movie as well. Harris is like... The opening to this movie is very strange. It starts in... I'm overlapping my thoughts. It starts in the 1940s in Vegas, and Brad Pitt is a soldier that is just coming home from World War II, and his mother picks him up and, takes him back to his, like, Dust Bowl level home. And he shows her this motorcycle that he won in like a poker game or something in Italy. Yeah. And they go on a short ride before dinner.
Yeah.
And then this drunk couple like get in a car and hit them, and his mother dies. And at that very moment, Doc Whiskers, who appears at the beginning and then like the end of this film, has been working on using his rays to rip a hole through so he can come through to the Noid world.
Yes.
And instead, for some reason, and he gives no excuse. He's like, oh yeah, for some reason it pulled you through to Cool World rather than sending me there.
Yeah.
Isn't that
he explained
fun?
It. He explained it perfectly. The spike has power that we can't even understand.
Yeah. Yes. So cop out. But then Brad Pitt's like stuck there, but then actually he's not. Because he's all fucked up because he just watched his mother die, and it's his fault that his mother died, even though also it wasn't because
Right.
it was the drunk driving
He's got
accident.
PTSD from war.
He does.
He has PTSD from his mother dying, so he reverts into Cool World as a place to live.
He becomes a police
ignore
officer
that.
and a detective there, and seemingly the sole form of law and judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
Like at one point, he tells Holly if she doesn't stop trying to contact Deebs, then he will shut down all her businesses permanently. Like what cop can just do that? Like
Yeah, well, you want to know something else too?
Power.
That doesn't make any sense?
What?
Brad Pitt is the first Noid who's come into Cool World.
But at the same time, he also mentions about how she's tried to do this with several other Noids who have passed through. That's another throwaway line that he just mentions offhand talking to Deebs when he's trying to get Deebs to not sleep with her.
What I'm saying is he's the first Noid that came into Cool World.
Uh-huh.
So how would he even know that having sex with a
It's
doodle?
the oldest law.
Why?
Because there are no laws older.
The Doodles had never seen a Noid until Brad Pitt.
That's not true. Doc Whiskers knew what they were and who they were, and he was like trying to get through to their world. I think maybe there were windows through, but
What
they just had never been crossed.
In order for them to know that this would even be a thing, someone would have had to do it.
Well, if you recall, he talked about how he and Doc Whiskers worked together to like mine the tunnel between and figure out like the differences between the like, and this isn't shown. He just says it. So in the interim of the 50 years, he and Doc Whiskers worked together to figure out the differences between their realities and figuring out the tunnel that connects them and how fragile it is. And if there was crossover and all of that stuff to a great extent, both would collapse. It doesn't work. So I have to assume that that's something they found out at some point. I don't know. It's not explained. And don't ask me to explain it. I didn't choose this movie.
Yeah, the whole time I'm watching this thing, I'm like, okay, for them to even understand that this is even a thing, like the Noids and the Doodles having sex would create the end of the world. Somebody would have had to do it.
Unless Doc was lying about Harris being the first one, and it had happened before, but they had fixed it. Right. And so then they like sealed it off.
I'm fine with that explanation.
But that's not in the movie.
They need to give us that explanation.
I'm conjecturing at this point.
Yeah, because that's, again.
Because I have to try and make sense of
yet another glaring issue with this film is that in order to piece all this together, you really have to like look into these disposable lines that they treat them like they're disposable anyway, when they're really like important information plot points that you need to know as a viewer to understand the rules of this movie. And they're just treated as if they're throwaway lines
just casually tossed out there
that they didn't even rehearse.
Immediately moved on from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a bad film.
I know.
Like I don't want to be one of those people that just kind of like shit all over everything, because for all I know,
I named 2 things I liked about this movie.
For all I know, somebody listening to this right now, it's their favorite movie, and that's fine. To each their own. I don't
know. In this case, I don't think it's fine. Get a better favorite movie.
I just want you to know that like, I like bad movies.
I don't.
I have no problem watching a bad movie. There's a lot of bad movies out there.
You legitimately do.
I love Nothing But Trouble. I know that's a terrible movie. So maybe that's what it is. People who love Cool World know it's a terrible movie and they love it anyway.
But I'd argue Nothing But Trouble has a much stronger plot.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Most movies have a stronger plot than Cool World. But, you know, I do like the risks it's taking because, again, this is another film that comes out my favorite time during taking risks for movies, 1985 and 1995. This is one of them. I think that the idea here is, it's a good idea.
I think this could have been something interesting, but it's sloppy and it's not good.
I would say the idea was even a little ahead of its time.
Okay.
But execution is everything. And when you're doing a movie that relies heavily on a mix of live action and cartoons, those things need to be done right. How many times did we see Brad Pitt trying to interact with something that's a cartoon?
Oh no, like I said, we were going to talk about that.
And he
That
had
is
no idea.
Look at Bob Hoskins. Like in our Roger Rabbit episode, we talked at length about how masterfully done the interactions between live action and animation was.
Painstaking animation and the amount of takes they had to do over and over and over to get it perfect.
Yeah.
And in this, they're like, all right, Brad Pitt, you're going to be holding up your detective badge in this scene. Go. And he's like, oh,
how about that cigarette he smokes?
Yeah. He's like, well, what do I do? He's like, yeah, just hold your hand up.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Like this? Perfect.
There's several times when he puts his arm around Lynette and it's just,
not touching her at all. He's not interacting with anything.
I do not blame Brad Pitt in this. I blame the animators because they did not fit the animation into the space correctly. Again, it's cutting corners. It's sloppy shit. It's very simplified. And no. It's bad.
Suspension of disbelief is exactly what this movie relies on, and they did not suspend my disbelief at all in this. It's not an immersive experience. It's a very passive experience, honestly. You're trying to absorb everything that's going on. You're getting fed these little bits of plot through disposable lines that are not even handled with care. They had one idea for this, and that is a cartoon character wants to become real by having sex with a human. That was the plot to this movie.
Well, and I think that in and of itself is kind of 92 is a weird time for that because like a few years later you would have like Species and stuff, which is an alien trying to procreate by having sex with humans. Right. That type of thing. Or back in the 70s, you had like your animation, whatever, a lot of boobies everywhere, Fritz the Cat type stuff.
Yes.
And I don't think 1992 audiences were interested in that particular side of the plot necessarily.
I definitely think this movie was risky.
Yeah, but not
and that's
all.
That's why he should have just Bakshi'd his ass off and just pushed it further.
Not all risks should be taken. Some risks are useless. Like that. No, that's no. I think he was too stuck in his Bakshiness and couldn't branch out of it because not everything he does is like ridiculously horny. Okay. He did, for better or worse. He was the first person.
I don't know. Gollum was a little horny.
Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Gollum loved his precious.
On the screen. Yeah. He was the first one to try it. He didn't even finish it. You know, Gandalf is just by the tree and then the movie's over and then it
kind of failed. So.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that like he can do other things. And I don't necessarily have an innate like dislike for the concept of merging the worlds by merging your bodies, like that type of thing. That's fine. If it's sex, that's fine. But like she literally wants to fuck everything always. That's her only characteristic. Like when she's annoyed and she's in that nightclub, she's like, "Oh, every man here, oh, make love to me." I'm like, "What are you doing?" That's Frank Sinatra Jr., by the way. Yeah. That's actually Frank Sinatra Jr. And she's so fucking horned up, and there's nothing more to her.
No.
And that's a shame.
Holly is definitely a one-dimensional character.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to have sex. There's nothing wrong with that. But give the girl something. I mean, like in Wizards, Eleanor flirts her like ridiculously. But she also, there is a little more, not a whole lot. I'm not going to give her too much credit. But she does occasionally have like bravery. She shows bravery. She will defend and fight for what she what she cares about, what she thinks is right.
Yeah.
And even when she loses her mind, she comes back and is able to, she plays a pivotal role in the overthrowing of Black Wolf and all of that. Man, I wish we'd watch Wizards instead. But there's nothing to Holly.
I think
she's just horny.
Yeah.
And that's boring.
I think that
once you're beyond like 13, 14, 15 years old, that's boring.
They should have taken this character and made her less of an asshole, less of a selfish asshole. And maybe, how about this? she and Gabriel Byrne, she meets her creator. They fall in love. They do the deed, and then she becomes human, not realizing that would be the outcome of it. And then slowly becomes like, I don't know, more selfish because now she's experiencing this new thing that she doesn't want to let go of.
I mean,
that would have been a better idea.
That would have been interesting. I don't hate the idea of her being out to get her own no matter what, and her using her body to get that. That's fine. But like, what does it matter to you if you become real, if all you want to do is fuck once you have it? What more do you want for yourself?
Think like Bender in Futurama when he became human.
Well, all he wanted to do is fuck.
So
but
yeah,
also
that's
eat
my
and stuff
version
like
of Cool World is that, where she just wants to overindulge after becoming human.
Yeah. But she already had everything as a doodle. She just decided that
yes, she
being
got
real
nothing
is
out of
better.
being human that she didn't have as a doodle.
Objectively, like a human's life is far more difficult. That's like when Gabriel Byrne was trying to tell her, she's like, let's go. And he's like, but it's so much better here. And even Brad Pitt is like, it's lonely. It's horrible. There's war. You know, the actual humans are like, no.
What did Holly gain by being human she didn't already have besides mortality?
Well, and again, I don't necessarily mind the fact that she wants to become human, but I want her, and I don't mind the fact that she's like, if you made her an actual femme fatale and, you know, she has sex with Gabriel Byrne, becomes human, kills him, and goes on to take over his house, and then, but what more does she want? Just to be human? So what? She could go work at Walmart or something? Like, what is it that you want?
So she could be horned up as a human instead of a cartoon.
What's the fucking difference?
Nothing. There's nothing. The motivation of this character is bullshit.
I'm talking to past creators of this shit. Bakshi and the producers.
Basically,
like,
she just wants it because she doesn't have it.
Else?
It's the one thing that she can't have.
I suppose. And it's forbidden.
Yes. That's my take on it.
Maybe.
But again, I think this would have been a better movie if she had obtained humanity without realizing that it was going to happen and then enjoyed it so much that she didn't want to let it go.
Well, I also like the idea because, again, remember this was initially pitched as a horror movie, right? So what if she did do it knowingly and she merges the realms and is the cause of destruction, and through that, you know, with her own machinations, because she has the spike of power and is in charge of the merging of the realms. What if she's the only thing left alive at the end of it? What if she ends up ruling both lands because of it? Like, give her some fucking motivation. What does she want? You know, if it's a horror movie, fucking make it. How is this? In what way is this a horror movie other than it's a horror to have to watch?
I think that calling this a horror movie is like, I mean, that's very shallow.
It says comedy horror.
It may be on the surface. Maybe that's why the Cool World. Well, maybe that's why like Cool World looks the way it does. Or whatever. Maybe that's where they're getting the horror aspect from this, because it's not
gothic-y than horror. Then
I guess, but it looks like something you would see in like Dracula or something. You know
yes,
what I mean?
like gothic-y architecture.
Yeah, but Dracula was considered a horror movie.
Well, yeah, but then you've got all these rubber hose things dancing around, and
well, yeah, I mean,
is that the comedy part?
Yes,
like the foreground's the comedy, the background's the horror.
No, it's not, but it's supposed to be.
So okay, the foreground's the comedy, the background's the horror. Fixed it. All right, excellent.
There you go. That's the merging of those two things. But
excellent.
Yeah, I just think that Holly, she is just kind of craving something that she can't have. Maybe that's the appeal of the humanity aspect, becoming human. But I do think that this would have been better if it was like, you know, she had just become human without realizing. Now she's experiencing new things like sensations, senses, touch, taste, you know, all of those things.
You're describing City of Angels, by the way.
Yes, but City of Angels didn't come out until 1995, 6?
Something like that.
This would have predated
and I like that movie. That movie gets fucking lambasted. Oh my God, it's so sad.
But yeah,
but we're not here to talk about City of Angels.
It doesn't explain enough. It's... I think the runtime is a little long.
I fell asleep at the end of it this time.
I just think and don't get me wrong, it's not even a long movie. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long, but I think it needed to be just like a tight 90 and gotten it done, because there are like, it takes a while for this to get going. Like the first 30 minutes of this movie is setting up Brad Pitt getting trapped in Cool World.
Yeah. And then Gabriel Byrne.
And then it's a bunch of Holly dancing and shaking her ass.
I
at the
don't
camera.
understand how she's able. I do wish there was some explanation because I don't know that there is. How is Gabriel Byrne getting the visions? Like, how was he able to do that? Is that just something he was born with?
They don't
explain it. Because
they don't.
Holly reaches out of the drawing to him.
Well, it starts as a voice in his head.
Yeah, I know. And he's
so I'm thinking what's going on is
like
that somehow or another, and again, they don't explain this. This is just how I interpreted this, is that Cool World exists without Gabriel Byrne, right?
Yeah.
They needed him to be the artist that explains Cool World's existence in our world through the form of a comic.
What do you mean they? Who they? Cool World?
The tunes, I guess.
I don't think so.
The doodles. Holly has gotten in his head, and that's where she's like the muse, right? Mm-hmm. Her voice is in his head. Then he starts drawing the voice, and it goes from there.
I think that somehow they found out that he was like, maybe that he appears in their heads, or like for some reason, somehow, because it's not explained, he's able to see into there because he's drawn most of these people, but he really only hears Holly. But I definitely think she is purposefully reaching out to him and trying to seduce him so she can get him to come through, so she can have sex with him, so she can become real.
His mind should have been the nexus for them to come into our world.
Sure. Well, because Brad Pitt even talks about like his fountain pen and like the power it has. You know, like you need to be careful with this here.
Right.
Then
this should have started with an artist sitting at a drawing board drawing this character, and off in Cool World, which at this point is just a void of nothingness, comes Holly. Then other characters start forming, and they start figuring out, what is this? Who are you? Where are we at? What is this void we're in? And then suddenly all of the architecture starts happening around them. Mm-hmm. Cool World should have been created as he was down there drawing Cool World.
Yeah, but he didn't create it.
And then somehow or another, this nexus point that exists, maybe through his mind or something, where they have some kind of connection to our world now, and now they want to come out and be one of us. That's how this should have been. There's no reason for these characters to want to be in our world.
Up, like there's with 7 different better plots.
Yes, there's absolutely no reason for us to want to be there, for them to want to be here, and it only happens because the plot needs it to happen so that we can get to the credits of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
I agree.
I mean, if you've never seen it and you like animation, check it out just to see what we're talking about.
Cool backgrounds.
If any of this interests you, like animation wise, but if you were looking for a
lot of different styles,
if you were looking for like stellar performances,
a good experience,
a cohesive narrative that's gonna like warrant discussion afterwards, this ain't it.
No.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you put this?
What is 1 and what is 10? Like what? Like 1 is the worst and 10 is the best.
Sure. Yeah.
Of animated movies?
Of anything. Just
of anything?
Just as a form of entertainment.
Oh, well, it's not very entertaining. There's worse shit out there that I would rather watch this than many other things, but that's like for different reasons entirely. Like things that actually like really creep me out and stuff. This is just kind of stupid. I don't know, like a 3 or a 4.
Yeah, I was thinking 3. Mainly because it's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No, I've definitely seen worse.
There's far worse movies. This at least
actually has capable actors in it. It's just
and it does have some like pretty stunning looking backgrounds.
Yeah,
you know, even if you're just like an artist that paints like, I don't know, like Dali-esque shit.
Yeah,
this could be inspiring to you. But like, I think that in the pantheon of like animated movies and live action crossed over with animated movies, this is definitely like bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
So yeah, I say a 3 is pretty fair.
Yeah. Like Mary Poppins made it look so much more believable that they were dancing with penguins and shit, like many decades before this.
Yeah, and even before Mary Poppins, there were live action cartoon mashups that fooled audiences.
No, I'm just saying. Like right before, a few years before this, Roger Rabbit did it to perfection as far as the interaction between.
But I can also tell you this too, like watching it today, by today's standards, I mean, it's embarrassingly bad.
It's
the way
very bad.
That the animation mixes with
it's
live
very
action.
poor.
But even for the time,
done.
it was not good.
No.
Like this film was not well received. It lost a shitload of money.
Yeah.
It really thought that it was going to bank off the popularity of its predecessors. And
I just think people weren't interested. They didn't think it was like, you know, oh, haha, I see what you're doing here.
It felt like it was deserved the audience and not earning an audience.
Yeah, I just don't know who this is for.
It
Beyond
deserved
like 13-year-old
the Roger Rabbit
boys
audience
who
without
want to look at
earning
boobies.
The Roger Rabbit audience, and
you can find better boobies.
Yeah, it failed miserably. Whereas Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as we all know from our other episode, was spectacular success. For Disney.
Was.
All right. Well, I mean, my recommendation is don't watch this.
My recommendation is meh.
Yeah, unless you just have a weird fascination with animation and you've never seen it, and you just want to see if
I mean, check it out
that we
once.
talk about here is,
but don't expect to enjoy yourself.
No,
really.
No, and I wouldn't. Like, if you're gonna watch this, just watch it by yourself. Don't make this a group thing. Like, if you got friends over and you're like, "Hey guys, let's watch Cool World," they're gonna hate you. And they're probably not going to come back to your house, and I would not blame them.
So if you're trying to get rid of your friends, say, hey, let's put on Cool World.
All right. Well, I guess we can call that an episode. Jess, where can people find you?
I'm Jess Moon. I am at @just_Jess Moon on Instagram and at JHL Moon on Twitter. I do have a publishing house. It's called Shadow Spark Publishing. You can find us all across socials at Shadow Spark Pub. And you can visit our website, shadowsparkpub.com, for all of your indie fiction needs.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram at deadbeat_Chad. You can follow the podcast at the Pretty Little Podcast on Instagram as well. We also have the YouTube channel where you can listen to all of our episodes. It's at youtube.com/at the Pretty Little Podcast 69420. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Believe it or not, this is episodes like this aren't always our best, and it's not always something we look forward to. But
wow, vote of confidence. I was gonna say, shout out to YouTube. Thank you, everybody who watches the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's crazy how
we have a lot more traction on YouTube than we do anywhere else.
Yeah, but it's crazy how with what was it recently? There was something that just was it the Max?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this.
Because it had very, very few views on YouTube, and then recently Sam Keith, the creator of the Max, passed away. So
which is so rude of him, because I spent most of that episode just being like, "What the fuck, dude?" And then he died, and now I'm like, "Well, good. Now I feel terrible." Fuck.
But guys, I mean, we do this because we love doing it.
Yeah.
Some episodes more than others. I mean, Cool World was just one of these outlier things.
Well, I wanted to if you were going to make me watch this piece of shit movie, I was goddamned if we didn't get an episode out of it. And there are some interesting things to talk about, good, bad comparison and all that stuff. So
yeah. But it is appreciated for each and every one of you that listen and download.
Yeah.
It is growing, and we do like to see that. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
So until we see you next time, stay pretty.
Stay little. Do you think the audience ever ends with?
I think they stopped listening a long time ago.
Shit.
As soon as I say, well, we can call that an episode, they're out of here.
I don't give a shit, Jess. Where can people find you? I don't want to find her. Okay, bye guys.